Welcome to having an ADHD friend. Hey! Thank you for joining the Escape With Me book club. Escape with me, Stan Reiner.
And me, Tim Bergman.
Into our most recent read. Come with us as we evade reality and go into detail about a new book. We'll be covering the book from beginning to end, so there will be spoilers. Today we are going to Fantasyland Narnia, published October 16, 1950. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is the first book published in the Chronicles of Narnia series. Considered a childhood classic and inspiring movies and television series, including one coming in November 2026. Are you excited?
I can't say that I am. I've been so off the Narnia game lately.
But how does it hold up 75 years later? The 50s were 75 years ago. That's nuts. Background on this. I saw the movie as a kid. I think I saw it in theaters. I thought Peter was cute, which apparently is a very common opinion, which is fair. They gave him the mop top hairdo where it's like 90s, but not as... I don't know. The 90s mop top was, I feel like, more mullet-y.
I definitely think it was. It was a bit more moppish than that.
Yeah, and then he had the 2000s where you tighten it up in the back.
Yeah, and the movie itself is going to turn 20 years old in December.
That's crazy.
Yeah, December 7th, 2005.
So that is all I knew of this. I think I became aware that it was a book later. Maybe when we saw the movie, my mom was like, oh yeah, it's based on a book or something. But definitely hadn't heard of the book before this. And then I remember seeing them in bookstores and being like, oh yeah, I totally need to get that. And then I just never got it.
Yeah, I remember all of this. And one of my treasured memories is my dad reading these books to me as a kid. He would bring me and my sister up to the guest room. He would sit on the couch. He would open up the book. And we didn't have to stand there in rapt attention. He would let us play with our trains or plastic animals or whatnot. But we went through every single Narnia book.
Yeah.
And I remember the voices that he gave a lot of characters. And so I'm definitely going back through this movie and the book with some heavy prescription nostalgia glasses.
Yeah. And I remember watching the second movie, and then at the end of the second movie, they're like, Susan, Peter, you were too old, you can whatever. And I'm like, I don't give a crap about Edmund or Lucy. We're done. But yeah, that's all I knew about it. Came back to it and was looking it up, like, where is this? It's on Disney Plus, fun fact. And I noticed that it had a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was reading the book. Why is it 75? It's literally the book. All of this is in the movie, and then I watched the movie, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'd give this 75%. But we'll get there.
Narnia has a super strong reach. And so back in the day, there was a British broadcasting service, the BBC.
There's still a British broadcasting service.
My sentence will finish when it's darn ready to.
Okay.
And so they made a Narnia adaptation. In fact, there are several Narnia adaptations into movies and television shows. And I remember the absolute dog water quality of these movies and TV shows before I ever saw the mass production one.
See, that's the forgotten lore that you were like, oh, you need to watch these things. And I'm like, okay, tell me what it's on. And you were like, okay, I'll let you know. And then you never let me know.
I showed you the album from the 1976.
You did. I forgot to listen to the album. That is fair.
Oh, no, you didn't listen to it?
Why? Is that the question?
No, that is absolute a non sequitur. For the folks listening at home, in 1976, there was a band called the Second Chapter of Acts, and they made a 37-minute concept album of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it is one of the most 70s things you will ever listen to.
I don't know. Is it as good as Mission Earth? That's pretty up there.
It is right around there. I love it because I listened to it as a kid, and I can't say I didn't like it then and I don't like it now.
I mean, you can. It's something totally fine to say.
I refuse. It is locked in there. It has its pedestal, but it is a children's album. I will say that right now so that nobody's like, whoa, this is like Blue Oyster Cult. No, it is nothing like that. It is absolutely made for children who read the book.
Kind of astonished with how many random CDs you were aware of as a child?
My parents and I, garage sales. If there was a garage sale, we would look through all the CDs, find the weirdest one we could, and keep going.
The things you have shown me from these random, I'm trying to just get around the fact Misty's song is still pops in my brain every once in a while.
I did not mean to pass that curse on to you. I had CDs about like Carmen Sandiego and Pokemon and a whole bunch of other weird stuff.
Ooh, I loved Carmen Sandiego.
But I just wanted to get this out real quickly, is that C.S. Lewis, the author, he had a friend in Tolkien, the J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, and they're making a movie about it.
Yeah, and the very last Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, was made in 2003. The very first Narnia movie came out 2005.
Yeah, they did that because they were like, crap, we're out of... We'll just go to his friend, it's fine. We'll make it 2 hours and 20 minutes long. What? The book's only 92 pages? It's fine. I'm mad. I'm so mad.
Goodness.
Age level, this is a children's book. It's such a children's book.
Absolutely.
I was talking to my husband about it, and he was like, it's weird comparing Tolkien and C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
One of them created several languages to include into his high fantasy tale, and one of them has a lion Jesus and Santa Claus.
Yep. I mean, when I was reading this book, I actually had to set it down for a second because I was looking at all of this and I was like, why is the beaver smoking? Why is there this and that? And then I had to just set it down and talk to myself. It's like, Tim, you miserable cynic. Where is that childhood sense of wonder that was able to explain things without them being explained?
Okay, to be fair though, that same thing got us to watch a lot of crap. There's a reason it's just a children's movie is a phrase.
It's just, it can be whimsical. It can be fun. I don't need everything explained verbatim. I don't need the magic system explained.
Don't be one of those people that's like, you can't use the term okay in high fantasy because that just takes you out of it because all high fantasy is based on Arthurian. No one cares. Have dancing gingerbread cookies in the window.
I mean, I'm not saying put Toyota Tacoma in there, but, there has to be a system in and of itself.
Santa Claus is a character, Tim. You can't take it that seriously.
Okay, my question, I'll admit this earlier, my question revolves around Santa Claus, and I'm going to wait until he appears in the story to ask it.
The content warning for this is there is blood, kidnapping, child abuse, physical, a kid gets slapped, animal abuse and death, and then there is some graphic violence in this.
Yep, there's blood on the sword, folks.
Blood on the sword, but also the whole Aslan on the stone table.
Yep.
It's a lot. But honestly, this is more child-friendly than Wizard of Oz, so you're probably fine. I watched the movie, and that was scary, but I wasn't scared, and I was a wimp of a child. I don't know what to do with the cover. I saw the movie first. Yeah, that's Aslan. That's a lion.
Yep.
Cool. I don't know. What did you think? Do you remember Tiny Tim? Oh my gosh.
Yes, I remember.
I was asking if you as a child. And I said Tiny Tim. Because I always say Tiny Sam or Tiny Kira or whatever.
Oh yeah, me and my Bob Cratchit days. Father, Mr. Scrooge. Do you remember Narnia?
I've snorted it already. Okay, let's keep going.
Well, I don't even know what question you asked.
What do you remember as a kid getting this and what you thought of it? I don't know. You might have been too little.
Narnia I said earlier that my dad read all the books to us, and I remember the CD, and I remember watching the pre-2005 shows on it, although just barely, where it's that kind of young where you only remember certain scenes and voices.
Yeah.
And so Narnia has never not been a part of my life, from what I can remember.
That's fair.
It's been almost this omnipresent force. And C.S. Lewis will do that to a lot of the evangelical church kids, where he's probably the first fantasy that they read. It's the first allegory, although C.S. Lewis did not consider it an allegory. We'll talk about that later. And so it's just always kind of there in the back pocket. What C.S. Lewis did, there are two scenes, and they are off the wall for what you could do nowadays, but back then, nobody blinked an eye. And somehow people still don't blink at it. Well, we'll get to it. We actually have to get to the story itself.
Heaven forbid.
Yeah. I hope you're enjoying your time here, audience. Eventually, we'll start the podcast.
So, we have 4 children, and I don't know why it took me until adulthood to understand the scene, which, by the way, the movie adds a lot.
Oh, yeah.
because it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. The book is 92 pages long.
They definitely fluff it up some.
The first 20 minutes isn't in the book. Even with all of the added context of the movie, of there's bombings, we need to protect the children, I always thought the professor was family. No. During World War II, because the bombings was so prevalent in London and so many people were dying, the government had a program where it took the children and gave them to random people in the country.
Real thing that happened.
Real thing that happened.
Saved their lives, no doubt.
But not all of them made it back.
Nope. Yeah, C.S. Lewis was right there, too. He was in London.
Yeah. So I just never got the context for that. Learned that as an adult, and now I'm like, wow.
I definitely feel that I probably read past that as a kid as well.
Because it doesn't even bring it up. It's just like, to protect them, they're going to the country, and oh my gosh, they're in this place, and it's a big mansion, and look at all the things, but we can do fun stuff, and oh my gosh, a wardrobe.
Yep.
Really does not focus on it whatsoever. They also try to add in this plot line about their father being dead. He was a military and Edmund saves the photo. And it's supposed to be like, no, Edmund's good intentioned. He just does things without thinking. And I'm like, no, he's the worst. I didn't like him in the movie, but I definitely didn't like him in the book.
Yeah, in the movie, they're able to give him some kind of scenes where he's not as bestial, as Peter would say.
He is the worst. He is so mean. He says one thing to Lucy in the movie where he's like, oh, little kids don't know when to stop pretending. And then Peter just shoves him and is like, why don't you do that? Why you did that? And well, like I said, Peter coming off as a bit of a prick, like, calm down, my dude. But no, in the book, it's days that he's just tormenting Lucy.
Yep. And by the way, the ages of all the characters might have slipped by you. Peter is 13, Susan is 12, Edmund is 10, and Lucy is 8.
I did not know that. That is not mentioned in the book, and they definitely look older in the movie.
Yeah, in the movie, it's definitely like Peter's somewhere between 16-ish, 17-ish.
In the first one? Because in the second one, he's definitely an adult playing a child.
Susan is definitely aged up a bit. Edmund, I would still say around like 10 to 12.
Yeah.
And Lucy is about 8 to 10. So they aged him up a little bit.
But probably because it would be hard doing that level of acting with anyone younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got shipped off. And they make the best of it. It's very happy, friendly, cute scenes most of the time. Edmund's the worst. But Susan and Peter are pretty great. The movie tries to add that Peter's the reluctant hero, which he's not. And that Susan is the intellectual that thinks really hard before she acts. And sometimes she just needs to act. Also not in the book. She's very sweet. But for the most, Lucy's pretty on point, I think.
Yeah, Lucy was definitely an amazing casting choice and good job with script and all that.
Did a pretty good job there. But yeah, they are at this random professor's place. Lucy walks through the wardrobe one day, playing hide and seek, finds the lamppost, finds Tumnus. They have a conversation. Sort of, she invites her over for tea, then he plays a flute, and she falls asleep, and then he's like, oh no, I almost kidnapped you, what a terrible, terrible thing I did, I must make sure you are safe, and leave.
Yep, and by the way, this is some trivia for you, is that in the movie, they did not have any of the child actors look at the set before they started the scene.
Oh yeah?
Yep, and so they were able to blindfold Lucy, they put her in this dark area, this wardrobe or whatnot, and they had her walk through it, and the very first time she saw those snowy woods was when she was walking out. They filmed the actual reaction she had.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty smart for working with kids, getting their first reaction.
Yeah, so her eyes going wide and her touching the snow and all that, that's all real.
That's a fun fact. I do remember, I think we got to the theater early, and they do the thing where it's like, oh, behind the scenes, whatever. And I remember the costuming talking about making Tumnus, like with his ears and stuff, and the wigs and things, and then the prosthetics they put on the different people for the war scene. You know, you have centaurs, you have ogres, you have all that. So I do remember that, which was pretty cool. I think that's the first time as a kid I was really introduced to that. So that was pretty cool. So, and this is also an issue I have with the White Queen, which we're sharing the fact that you had a bit of a crush on her.
As I was older, all right? And then it left the same way.
So yeah, It's very specifically Tumnus to Lucy and the White Witch to Edmund. I feel very uncomfortable when they're near each other. It feels like they've never been around a child before, and so they don't know how to act like an adult to a child. But I'm pretty uncomfortable with both of those scenes. I'm sure they did their best and everything was professional and above board, but especially the White Witch, she is sitting far too close to Edmund, has her arms around him, and isn't looking at his eyes, is literally watching him eat. That makes me so uncomfortable.
And I guess part of it was just because back then, 1950s and whatnot, and even earlier when Lewis was writing this, entertaining guests and being children should get tea and crumpets.
It was fine in the book. It was absolutely fine. It's just the movie. It was very uncomfortable.
And it probably should be uncomfortable, at least with the White Witch, because this is this grooming behavior.
It is. It absolutely is. And it's supposed to be like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. I will listen to her because pretty privilege exists and we listen to pretty people. But I'll just leave it at that. I was very uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable as a child. I didn't know why I felt uncomfortable, but as an adult, I feel very uncomfortable. And so I never liked the White Witch.
Yeah, Edmund would definitely get in a van that had Free Turkish Delight written on the side in spray paint.
Oh, absolutely. Easily. That's another thing. There's a couple of things that they do in the movie, but they don't explain the reasoning, and so it seems weird. In the book, it's explicitly stated that Edmund is eating enchanted Turkish delight, which makes you want to eat more no matter how much you've had.
Right.
In the movie, he's just a glutton.
Yep.
He eats 2 pieces, and then she's like, cool, you can have more later. And then he shows up, and he's like, hey, can I have more Turkish delight? No.
Then she feeds him moldy bread, stale water.
No, you can't. Thank you.
Yep. And by the way, Turkish Delight, the pastry, the candy, the whatever it is, it has had an enormous impact on whole Narnia fans where it's like, wow, Turkish Delight, I bet it's one of the best tasting things in the world. And then they try it, and it's mediocre at best.
Dude, have you tried British candy? It is mediocre at best. Shots fired. They're going to say ours is trash. We'll say theirs is trash. It's how we do.
But just hop on any of the forums or any conversation with anybody who's had Turkish Delight and likes Narnia, and they'll tell you, I don't know why Edmund chose this specific thing above anything else.
I just don't understand why people assumed that, because this isn't modern day, oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever. This is World War II, London child.
Yeah, welcome to rationing.
Have you tried anything that they would eat then? Turkish Delight is in Nutcracker, by the way. That's one of the dances.
Oh, wow. So Edmund goes into Narnia during another game. Actually, no, he just goes into it because he's chasing Lucy.
Yep. And here's the thing I don't understand. He goes in, he meets the White Witch. The White Witch is like, hey, here's Turkish Delight. I've enchanted you. You're going to be obsessed with this now. Go and get your siblings, bring them to me, and you can get more, and you're going to be a prince. Right? And so Lucy leaves, finds him. They both leave. She goes up to her older siblings like, oh my gosh, I went back, and this time Edmund went. And just to be a jerk, he pretends like Narnia doesn't exist. But then shoots himself in the foot to get the Turkish Delight. I don't understand. And I know it's a 10-year-old boy, and I will never understand that mindset, but come on.
That's because evil is self-destructive.
He is the worst. But it's okay. A conversation off screen with Aslan fixes everything.
Well, imagine talking to Jesus face to face. I think it would change a few things in your mindset.
Okay, fine. I did not play the Lion Jesus card. I'm so sorry.
But that is part of his character arc, is that you know that there are lots of 10-year-old boys that are just spoiled and mean.
Yes, I went to school with them.
You know, whatever life circumstances happen, maybe they've had a happy life and they choose that, or maybe they're just bringing the pain on others who've had pain themselves.
10-year-old boys are just punks.
So Lewis was speaking true to life. It would probably be easy to convince a 10-year-old kid back in rationing wartime Britain that, hey, you could be a king and get one over on your older brother. Oh,
yeah, and it works so much better with the dynamic they have going on. Like I said, in the movie, it's just, why can't you do what you're told? Versus the book, where over and over and over and over and over again, Edmund is being the worst.
He has a mean streak.
A mean streak? He is mean. There is no streak here. The streak is every day he's been alive.
Yep. He is very much the Judas character in our Passion Play here.
Oh my gosh. That is fake, because we all got forgiveness.
Hey, that is the point.
Literally, when Lion Jesus died for his sins.
Yep.
Oh, I cannot get over that. As a child, I didn't understand because I was stupid. But as an adult, I'm like, wow, every Lion Jesus meme ever is accurate.
Yep, he did it even for the absolute worst of the group. This mean, bestial child.
He did it for the worst. He died for them. He rose again to bring them the glory. 2 women, or a certain amount of women, were the first to see him.
Yeah.
When he rose again from off the stone.
Yep, and we will get to the stone table, but we were at the White Witch. Edmund goes on torturing Lucy for a bit of time in the movie and for weeks in the book.
The worst.
Then they get...
Okay, in the movie, they're playing cricket and they break a window and they run away, which I guess is a very child thing to do, but what is hiding going to do? You still broke the window. She's still going to be mad in 3 hours.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where you hide underneath the bed. In the book, it was different, that they're trying to avoid this tourist group that's coming and looking at all the old mansion and artifacts.
Apparently, yeah, he's basically a museum in his house, which is a real thing that they did. People would just have so much stuff in their house that other people would come, and then the museum, woo.
Yeah, and so they're hiding from this tourist group, and they all file into the wardrobe, which, by the way, you will never lock yourself in a wardrobe if you read this book.
The amount C.S. Lewis brings up. You have never read Series of Unfortunate Events books, which we will rectify, because I think you would love them. But this book mentions every time someone goes, but they didn't lock it, because it is silly to lock yourself in the closet. It would be ridiculous to do that. Don't do that. Literally every time.
Yeah, at least 3 times C.S. Lewis states specifically, not to the characters, but to you, the reader, it is a silly thing to lock yourself in a wardrobe. And I guess that's kind of like those scenes they used to have, and they probably still do. Don't try this at home. This is done by professionals.
No, we're going back to my Series of Unfortunate Events. There's 3 children. The oldest is Violet. Violet is known for making things. She's an inventor. She does stuff. And one of the times she has to do something dangerous with electricity, and it says at the bottom of the page, in normal circumstances, you should never, ever, ever turn the page. The entire page is evers.
That is amazing writing.
Get to the next page. Ever do this. But it was a serious situation of life or death, so they had to do the thing. So the exact same thing. The dedication to, they're doing the thing, but they're not doing a dangerous thing. Don't do the dangerous things. Please don't do a dangerous thing. Don't get me in trouble, guys. Don't be a narc. But yeah, so they're all in Narnia now. Yay!
Yep, and so, oh, by the way, we didn't mention this earlier. In this fantasy world with fauns and witches and dwarves and magic trees, there is a lamppost.
There's a lamppost.
There is a steel 1930s, 1940s lamppost.
Yep.
Which is important, but not in this book.
I feel like it probably comes up in, I didn't read any of the book, but The Magician's Nephew?
Yep, The Magician's Nephew.
The prequel? That would make sense to me.
Yep, and the thing is, this is the first book that Lewis wrote on Narnia. I don't think he was going to write sequels until after he wrote it.
Yeah, because there's a really sweet dedication in the beginning of the book. Apparently he had a goddaughter named Lucy, and so he wrote this story for her. But by the time she finished, she was older, and he basically writes, you know, I wrote this for you, but you're too old for fairy tales, but one day, when you're old enough for fairy tales again, you can tell me if you like it. Which, oh, my heart.
C.S. Lewis has a lot of great quotes about growing up and being able to still enjoy the things you enjoyed as a child, but now you can enjoy them not because you're a child, but because you're an adult.
Yeah, and there's definitely a cyclical for sure. Lucy takes him to meet Mr. Tumnus, which I always thought it was Mr. Thomas, the way they pronounce it. It's half the time. Half the time it is Tumnus, and then the other half it's Thomas, I swear. But yeah, the house is destroyed. There's a note that they've been arrested. It's very dramatic. And they decide right then, right there, we have to help him. Unlike the movie, when the older 2 are like, we're leaving. Sucks to suck. I do like there was one point where Peter was like, we could go to the police. And Susan was like, this is the police.
That was a good line.
That was a good one. There are 2 lines that I really like. The other one is later on between Peter and Susan. Peter and Susan are great. I love them so much. But Susan's like, wait, we need to think about this logically. He's like, you're not trying to be logical. You're trying to be smart. I was like, oh, as an adult, that's so good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, as they are gallivanting about in the dark looking for any kind of help, oh, actually, no, they see the bird.
A robin. A robin starts singing to them, and they're like, let's follow it. And so they do. And Edmund tries to sow doubt into Peter, but Peter isn't an idiot. I love him more in the book than I even did in the movie. And they follow the robin until they meet a beaver. And here's the thing. They see the beaver. The beaver is very quiet. And then she says, come here, but make no noise. To which the children respond by having a discussion in detail about all of the facts.
For the first talking beaver, I would guess most of them would want a little confirmation from the others.
It was such a British conversation to have, though. It's like, oh my gosh, there is a beaver. I think he wants to talk to us, but we better be quiet. Do you think we should go? I think we should go. We need to help Thomas. All right, we will go. Don't make a noise, children!
Yep, but they talk to Mr. Beaver, which, by the way, gets us on our fuzzy little critters enduring terrible situations card.
They had a fox in the movie.
Yep, but the fox was in the book, but he was at a different part in the book.
Is he? I don't remember a fox at all.
Yep, when we get to that, it is a bit after a lot of other stuff, but I will write down fox on my little notes here. All right, so they go to the beavers.
They go to the beavers.
And there's Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, and I enjoy their banter between each other.
I liked it better in the book than I did the movie, because the movie just falls into the let's make the wife the punchline the entire time. You've been sneaking seconds. Well, you never know when your last meal will be, especially with your cooking. If it's so bad, why are you eating seconds?
Well, I can definitely see where that part was added in. Although my family still quotes the line to each other where he gets angry when he's hungry. I'm angry now.
Yeah, when he gets hungry, he's angry. I'm angry now. That is pretty good. They hang out for a while. Like, Peter helps with fishing. The girls help Mrs. Beaver with her preparations because they're making dinner. And Ed Mick does nothing, apparently. We don't bring him up until later. And then they sit down, they have a meal, they have a whole conversation, they're going to the stone table with Aslan, and it's great. And then Edmund disappears, and they're like, oh no. And Mr. Beaver is immediately like, oh my gosh, he's a traitor. Good for you, Mr. Beaver.
Yeah, thanks for sussing that out early and never telling anyone.
I knew by the shifty look in his eyes. Yeah, that sounds like something you would say after you've already been confirmed, but it's fine. But they leave right then. They're like, cool, we're going to leave right now. And then by the time Edmund gets to the castle and tells them where they are and they go there, they're long gone trying to find them. Not so in the movie. The movie adds a lot of action scenes.
They definitely got their money's worth for the CGI.
That's debatable.
I didn't say it was a lot.
In the movie, they go down this tunnel. Another joke. Oh, this leads to my best mate's place. I thought you said this led to your mother's.
Oh, before I forget, the beaver mentioned something interesting, and I did not remember this for the longest time until I read it again. The White Witch, whose name is Jardis?
Let me look. The White Witch. Oh, they don't give her name in this book.
Jadis. And Jadis is stated to be not a human.
Yeah.
But she is descended from Adam and Lilith.
Yeah, and then she has giant's blood, and that's why she's so tall.
Yeah, but the fact that he even mentioned this obscure Jewish mythology, magical, occultic myth of Lilith, just right there in the story, it's like, oh yeah, Adam had a first wife who left him. And it is never a point in the story beyond that.
They almost immediately backtrack it because he's like, oh yeah, she's human. She's a daughter of Lilith, not a daughter of Eve. But actually, she has giant's blood and a little bit of this other thing in her. Almost immediately backtracks on it.
And C.S. Lewis just throws it in there as like salt.
They were right! This is witchcraft! This is tomfoolery! Burn it all! Burn it all!
But I looked around a little, and apparently Lilith is actually a reference to a book by George MacDonald, who C.S. Lewis was a huge fan of.
That's so funny.
And one of George MacDonald's books is called Lilith, a Romance, and it has Lilith as a queen of a country in the book.
Oh my goodness, I love you so much. You're so amazing. I'm going to name a character after you.
Yep, George MacDonald himself appears in one of his books.
Oh my God.
The Great Divorce.
I want to fangirl so hard on someone that I do that.
Just include them in the book?
Yeah, they just show up and everyone's like, okay, this is a character. And I'm like, you don't understand. There are a couple of characters I would do that with. I love that.
But yeah, no, I just wanted to include in there, I absolutely did not expect something like that to come up. And I think even earlier in the book, he mentions Bacchus, which is the Roman version of Dionysus, if I remember right. And he's just there too. This Roman god is gallivanting about with all these fawns in Narnia.
Yeah, they do mention that.
It is unquestioned. It is assumed. It is a good thing.
This is children's fantasy. You just gotta go with it.
Yeah, and that's part of why I had to set the book down and go, Tim, you cynic. Just enjoy it. It doesn't have to make perfect cosmic sense.
I don't know if that makes you a cynic.
But C.S. Lewis loved fantasy. He loved all of it.
Yeah, you can tell.
And so him just putting stuff in here that makes it whimsical and fun, absolutely a great choice.
It's my world. I can do what I want.
Yeah.
Santa Claus can show up. I can't.
Yeah, we're about to get to that.
It makes so much more sense in context, but every time I mention that Santa Claus is in this book, I just... Does this make this a Christmas book?
All right, we are about to get there. So in the book, the children run outside and they have to cross a river and they have to just keep on running, and Lucy gets tired. And so in the book, it's underneath a tunnel and then they run. In the book, it's just right out the door.
Yeah, they're gone. The fourth wall breaking. Another reason I think you really like Series of Unfortunate Events. His voice sounded pale. And in parentheses, it says, I hope you know what I mean by a voice sounding pale.
That was fantastic.
Is that like Peter S. Beagle going, a thing happened?
Stop. Don't bring that up.
I feel like that is. I just want to write something ridiculous and then be like, I hope you understand what I mean when I wrote that.
It sounds more like a plea, where it's like, I don't have a better adjective here, so I hope you know what I mean.
I can't imagine getting that past a modern day editor.
Oh, man. But as the children and Mr. and Mrs. Beaver are on the run, they hide themselves up in a hole for a little bit. And in the book, they actually go to sleep inside the hole. And in the movie, it's just a minute.
Yeah, they're very good about, in the book, making sure that everyone eats and drinks and sleeps.
Yeah. In the book, they just get scared for a few minutes. And then, who do they meet? Who is on the sleigh?
Who has a sleigh that has jingle bells, other than the White Witch?
Yep. Who specifically said, take all of the bells off my sleigh in an earlier scene, which they didn't do in the movie.
They did not, and so that's why you're like, wait a second, that's weird. Why am I hearing bells? Also, there's a bit of a continuity error where he shows up and he's wearing brown, normal clothes, and then later on, Peter's like, and the old man in the red suit. And I was like, but he wasn't in a red suit.
But that's right. They meet Santa Claus.
Father Christmas.
Yep. Oh, and by the way, for the ones who haven't read Narnia at this point, I think we forgot to mention the entire world has been in winter for 100 years because of the White Witch.
But no Christmas. And that's such a bigger deal in the book because Lucy keeps bringing it up, which makes perfect sense to a child that age.
Yep, a winter with no Christmas.
Like, it would be horrifying to have winter but never Christmas.
Yep, always winter, never Christmas. And by the way, they never refer to him as Santa Claus.
Father Christmas.
Yep, it's Father Christmas all the way down.
Which it is the 1950s, so.
Yep, and so here's where the question comes in, and I want your honest opinion on this. Is Santa Claus being in this movie, giving presents, make this a Christmas movie?
Didn't I just make that joke? That, oh, I guess this is a Christmas book then?
Yeah, no, that's what I want to know. I want to know, do you think that this makes it a Christmas movie?
This alone? Because you also have to keep in fact that it's Christmas and we literally have Lion Jesus. So the two things together, I mean, I feel like you could watch it at any time. Kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas, where it's a Halloween movie and a Christmas movie. So I feel like you could watch this at any time, but I don't think it would be terribly weird to watch it for Christmas.
Yeah. And my opinion on it was that, no, this is not a Christmas movie because it does not take place on Christmas. It is actually summer.
I mean, it's spring.
Yeah, but the second that the snow starts to melt, it's not the actual season of winter anymore.
Yeah, but it's winter and then you get presents and then it's spring. So it's poetic.
It's like getting Christmas presents in July because it was delayed for that long. It doesn't make it Christmas. It is my opinion that this is not an actual Christmas movie just because Santa Claus is in it.
But it wouldn't be weird to watch it at Christmas, is what I'm saying.
You can watch it at Christmas, and you can enjoy Santa being there and the presents.
And it's the true meaning of Christmas, Tim. We have Lion Jesus dying for our sins.
Yes, we do.
Which I guess is more Easter, actually. That kind of goes into your point a little bit more, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is more of like a Passover kind of deal.
This is a Passover movie, guys.
Watch it on Good Friday. But they meet Father Christmas. He gives Peter a sword and a shield. He gives Susan a horn that will let people know when she's in trouble, and a quiver and arrows.
Which she does not use in either the movie or the book.
She uses it once in the movie to get the dwarf.
Yeah, she practices. It's the 1950s. It's the 1950s. You like I Love Lucy. It's 1950s. Here's a bow and arrow, kid, but don't ever do anything with it. I don't want you in the war. You're a girl. Susan is no Katniss. I will say that.
I will defend Lewis a little bit on this, because he lived through World War I, and he was there in the trenches, seeing his friends get blown to smithereen or gassed.
He absolutely mentions war is a very dirty business. It makes sense for Lucy. You're a child. Here's a healing thing. Here's a dagger. Please use the dagger just to protect yourself. Don't go into battle. Okay, fine. She's an 8-year-old girl. Edmund doesn't get a present because he's not there, and he's an idiot.
Yeah, bad kids get nothing for Christmas.
But he goes into battle, but heaven forbid Susan do anything cool with her bow and arrow. Anyway, I don't even remember. Does that come up in the second book?
No, I don't think so, but it's been so long.
Why did she get a bow and arrow? Anyway.
So they meet Father Christmas, the snow is melting away, and all this time, Jadis, the White Witch, has taken Edmund and imprisoned him and is now on the trail of the other 3 children with Edmund as her prisoner.
Yep. In the movie, they add a scene where he meets Tunmus, and the White Witch is like, the reason you're here is because he turned you in. Oh my goodness. We have to figure out how to make this 2 hours long, guys. We don't have any more Lord of the Rings books. We'll be back with The Hobbit. The dwarf for the White Witch doesn't have a name, and it bothers me. He's in this way more than everyone else. Heck, Rumblebuffin, this random giant, gets a name, but heaven forbid the dwarf get a name. We have 3 servants from the professor, Ivy, Margaret, and Betty, who never show up in this book, but we have names for them. The dwarf never gets a name. He doesn't get a name in the movie either, I don't think.
Yeah, no, they have a name for him created later, but he's not given a name.
Well, it's like, did you know Prince Charming in Snow White is named Ferdinand?
Huh, I did not know that.
Yeah, if you look in the credits, his name is Ferdinand. It's weird. My friend, who's more obsessed with Snow White than I am, pointed out that he was Prince Charming until Cinderella came out, and they wanted to use Prince Charming for him. And so they went back and named him Ferdinand, so Cinderella could have Prince Charming. Okay, I don't know why we can't have 2 Prince Charmings, but that's fine.
There's only so much charm in the world.
And it all belongs to Philip, because bless.
They got their Christmas presents, Edmund's a prisoner, and this is actually where the fox shows up.
Okay.
So, in the movie, after the children exit the secret tunnel with the beavers, they talk to a fox and they have a little back and forth, and they find out the fox is a good guy, and the fox actually takes really deep bite from one of the wolves, trying to misdirect them. The wolves being the White Witch's secret police.
Yeah. Oh, the line was, but battles are ugly when women fight. And I'm like, battles are ugly always.
Yeah.
It's not a great time for anybody. Anyway.
But, so that's what the fox is in the movie, is that he's a herald for Aslan.
Yeah.
And up until this point, Aslan has been this figure of awe, because he's not been seen by the children yet.
No, but it's mentioned in the book that the 3 are like, oh my goodness, it's amazing. I'm so happy. I don't know why I'm so happy. And then Edmund hears it. And he's like, no, I hate it. Must leave.
Yeah, the very name of Aslan gives a physical reaction, the spiritual reaction, and everyone but Edmund is excited. So in the book, if I remember this right, I don't have it exactly in front of me, but the sleigh for the White Witch is getting bogged down.
It's on the river, and it's supposed to be fine to take the river, but it's starting to melt. And so it's slush. And so they keep having to stop to get it out of the slush. And so the dwarf finally gets to the point where it's like, we can't do this anymore. She's like, fine, we'll go on foot.
Yep.
The movie decides to take this and make it a whole confrontation scene with the head of the wolf guards, and Peter not striking the wolf, but planting his sword into an ice floe to keep hold, even though if the ice was breaking, doing that would cause a fracture.
Yeah, I remember seeing that the first time, and I thought, oh, he's trying to fracture the ice.
Fracture the ice so they can get away. Nope, they're gonna hold on.
Yep. So that whole river scene was added to pad time in the movie. But in the book, as the queen, she's not even the queen, the White Witch is going along, she sees a picnic of some kind happening on the side of the road with a bunch of animals. And that is where you have some squirrels and a fox and I think somebody else. And they said, oh, Your Highness, these are just Christmas presents. And she's like, what? Christmas? And then she freezes them all stone.
And they change it into the movie with, oh no, she's already gotten here. And because they were helping Tonmas, she did this. But I don't know. There's something just so wicked about seeing happy people and being like, I'm destroying this scene.
Oh, and by the way, we missed this earlier. She has an entire garden full of stone statues of people that she's frozen.
Yes, in her house, all over her house.
All over her house. No matter where you look, it's these petrified figures.
And when Aslan is undoing it, they're like, they're here, and they're here, and they're in the closet, and they're here, and this one, and there, and there. Where in the movie, they're like, spread out, find everybody. And so it just doesn't have as much an impact, which is fair. They got to get back to the really big battles theme they're paying a lot of money for.
Yeah, and so the three good children and the beavers head on over to the camp that Aslan has made.
Near the stone table.
And they are camped around the stone table, and they meet Aslan and speak with him. And I remember my dad's voice when he put on Aslan, and it's really funny. He put on this like Shakespearean opera accent, which got us to pay attention as kids.
There you go.
Do funny voices when you read to children. They'll love it. They'll remember it.
We're gonna talk to Lion Jesus. We're gonna talk to Aslan. Peter talks to Aslan.
Yep.
It's a good talk. And then, oh no, the sisters are in danger because the wolf is attacking. And so Peter goes and saves them, which is a little bit better taken by me in the book. Only because what do you mean your horn's on the other side of one of the wolves and you manage to get to it and blow it and climb into a tree without getting attacked? I'm sorry, what?
Yep.
And then she's climbing into a tree, but her foot is dangling, and I'm like, girl, tuck your legs. Yeah, you can't get further up, maybe. I could never do a pull-up. I still can't do a pull-up. Fine. Why are your legs dangling? Pull them.
Pull them up.
Pull them up.
But Peter goes and he gets his first kill on one of the wolves. And even Aslan is like, go on, boy, earn your spurs.
Get your stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like, you need to clean your sword. Always have a clean sword, which I feel like is probably very poetic, but...
And by the way, I didn't understand this when I looked at the movie. Did you see Nordic runes on the sword he was given? It had something written on the side.
In the movie, I did not pay that close attention, I have to be honest.
Yeah, there's some kind of writing on the sword, and I'm disappointed that never became a fluff for them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, oh, the sword's magic? No, it's just a really neat sword.
Yeah, it's fantasy. They have to have ruins.
Yep. But Peter gets his kill, and they follow the rest of the wolves back to Jadis's, the White Witch's camp, and they free Edmund and they take him back.
Huzzah! And then the White Witch throws up. Oh, and this is where Jesus makes Judas repent of all his sins. I'm trying to be serious. I really am. But White Witch shows up. Oh no, all traitors belong to me because of the deep magic. Don't you quote the deep magic at me, woman. I was there when it was written.
Yeah, which, by the way, of all the scenes in the book that match up to the ones in the movie, this is one of the least well done.
Yeah?
Because it reverses who was being frustrated and who was in control.
Yes.
Because Aslan seems like he has a temper the entire time, and he's just angry at her and about to pounce. Whereas the White Witch is very stoic and professional. And in the book, that's reversed. The White Witch is kind of like, this belongs to me. You know it. I know it. Give it.
Give it it.
It even has, she kind of sits back down when he roars at her. And in the book, she takes off running.
Yeah. Edmund is supposed to go, but comes out. Oh, no, it's fine. It's all good, guys. We should totally party. Bye. Luckily, Lucy and Susan can't sleep. And so they end up following Aslan. And it's hard to watch. That part of the movie makes me so sad.
Yeah, the whole, I can't even call it a crucifixion, the sacrifice scene.
Yeah, and here's a detail I didn't notice until I watched it this time. One of the things is that they shear off the lion's mane.
Yeah.
She wears that into the battle.
Yes, thank you.
She is wearing a lion's mane into battle, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty bad, eh?
I forget that every time I watch the movie, and I'm like, oh, that's cold. She's wearing his shaved mane as battle armor.
Give all of the villain props I can.
Yeah, she is very good at being evil.
That's one ad in the movie where I'm like, holy crap.
And by the way, the battle does not take place in the book. He completely skips over it.
No, he completely skips it. We stay with Lucy and Susan the entire time and just get there, and then Peter's like, oh no, Edmund did a thing. Oh, we need to save him. But of course, it's a movie, so we have to have the battle scene, which I'll be honest, this is when I started skipping every 10 seconds.
I liked the battle scene. It reminded me of Lord of the Rings, which is probably what they were going for, this huge battle.
That's literally what they were going for.
Yeah, it is kind of like die at Helm's Deep.
It is absolutely. I'm telling you, this was why they did this. My ADHD reaches a point where I'm into a movie and I'm into it, I'm into it, I'm into it. and then I come out of it and I'm like, how much longer do we have? And then I can't get back into it. And that happened around the hour and 20 minutes mark. And then I was like, how much time do I have left? An hour.
Wow.
I had an hour left, and that was a very long hour. And so I was like, I need to start skipping stuff. The hour mark is right before she comes for the whole, we need to do blah, blah, blah. Like, they meet Aslan. And I think that's around where I was at. And I was like, how much do we have left? We don't have anything left. And then we had an hour. And I was like, great.
But the fight scene is really cool. I enjoyed it. But let me ask you this. In the movie, there is a scene with a rhinoceros and a centaur.
There is.
That is one of the greatest scenes for a young guy to watch.
Oh, yeah?
It is so action-packed, testosterone-filled, last stand kind of deals.
It is pretty good.
He has 3 swords.
Isn't it the White Witch is coming for Peter, and so they go past so that they can't get to Peter? Is that it? Or is it another one?
Yep, that is the one where they're kind of in that rocky canyon kind of place, and Peter runs past them, and they charge forward, and Peter shouts, no. But that centaur had 3 swords on him, and he was just clearing house all the way there.
He was.
Everybody was rooting for that guy. Just masculine man fight battle. It's great.
But Peter was cute. No, I'm kidding.
There's something for everybody in this movie.
There's something for everybody. If you were a child, if you were an adult, please do not crush on Peter. Thank you. I'm already uncomfortable with Lucy's relationship with Thomas and Edmund's relationship with a White Witch.
Yeah, do not white witch yourself.
Do not White Witch those things. Thank you. I was so uncomfortable with that whole scene. Then you're like, yeah, later in career, she's like, I'm never working with children because they're so unprofessional. I'm like, maybe that's for the best.
Yeah, that's another behind the scenes thing, is that she did not like working with the kids because the kids were not untrained, but they were not exactly the high class acting deal.
Yeah, they were unprofessional because they're children and had no professional experience, really.
Almost all the bloopers, but like 2 on the DVD that I watched had the children in it and not her.
Oh, I bet she's one of those that doesn't do bloopers. She's in Doctor Strange, so she's the only one that I looked at their photo and I was like, I know who you are. The rest of them, I'm like, did you have a career? Do I know you? Who are you people?
But we skipped over the main part of the book to get to the battle scene, is that Aslan goes to the stone table, and at the stone table is the witch's entire army and herself.
Yeah, first of all, Aslan is at the stone table and is like, hey guys, let's move out. Let's go. We should not be here. And then they travel and they're there. And then Aslan goes back to the stone table because you find out he traded his life for Edmund's. And so they do a whole Jesus thing where it's like, we can't just kill you. We also have to mock you.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And the whole shaving of the lion's mane is a direct parallel to the selling the cloak of Jesus by the Romans, yeah. But they bind him and they put him on the stone table. And it even shows, even in the book, the animals are kind of afraid of him still until not even animals, just kind of evil creatures in general are afraid of him until they bind him and then they just go to town.
Yeah. Although even then, some of them are still kind of scared.
Yeah.
But yes, he is killed, and then Lucy and Susan are very upset about this. Except, ha ha ha, witch, you may know the deep magic, but you don't know the deep, deep magic, which says Uno reverse card. If someone innocent dies for somebody else on the table, then they come back to life.
Yep, death itself will be reversed.
Suck it.
Yeah.
He was there when it was written.
Which is not a line in the book. It's a great line, but it's not in the book.
It's a great line. Can we talk about my favorite subgenre that I find every so often that just melts my soul a little bit? We win by contract law!
It's all there in the fine print.
You think you know the contract? I know the contract better.
This is why you like the Ace Attorney games?
No, that game has nothing to do with law, let's be honest.
There's a Zelda knockoff that I'm watching. I'll have to tell you about Hero of the Law later.
Anyway, they go and free a bunch of people, all the stone creatures in the castle.
Yep, Aslan and Lucy and Susan, they ride on Aslan's back and he roars and he's really fast. Which, by the way, I think that this passes the Bechdel test, does it?
Do Lucy and Susan actually talk to each other at any point?
I think they talk, but they are still talking about Aslan.
Yeah.
But it's not like a romantic thing.
It doesn't matter if it's a romantic thing or not. It's about if they're talking about anything but a man. It doesn't have to be romantic.
And I don't think this book does.
No, the movie does.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. It has to be 2 named female characters. Okay, I'm adding that. But yeah, it has to be a conversation that is about something other than a man. And I know he's a lion, but come on. In the movie, there's a moment between Lucy and Susan's like, we used to have a lot of fun when you were younger, but then I got really serious, and they have a sister moment.
Yeah, but they go to the witch's palace, and Aslan unfreezes all of the petrified figures.
Speaking of petrified figures, they keep it in the movie. When Edmund first goes to the palace after hearing from the beavers about Aslan, this lion, he goes to the palace and he finds a lion who's stoned. He's like, ha ha, Aslan, you've already been caught. And he draws on his face, right?
Right.
They keep that in the movie, that he draws on the lion's face, but it's never mentioned that that's why he's doing it. And so it comes across as a jerk. And then to top it off, in the book, it's a little bit funny because the lion's running around being like, oh my goodness, the lions are in front. I'm with Aslan. I'm so important. And then it points out, isn't it like a fox? Another creature is the one actually giving orders and not the lion, even though he's talking himself up. But in the movie, at the very end, the lion comes back to life after the battle and has the mustache on him.
Yeah, and the glasses, yeah.
Pick a lane. I can't with that. Okay, guys. That doesn't make sense.
They definitely threw that in as a comedy bit, and I thought as a kid it was funny.
Yeah, well, I thought a lot of things as a kid were funny, so...
But it was funny where Aslan is leading everybody out of the witch's castle, and he says, anybody that doesn't run very well, go ahead and hop on people who do, like giants and horses.
And then the lions will lead you, and the lion's going, oh my gosh, I said the lions will lead us.
Yeah, did you hear that? Lions like us. And then Aslan saddles him with like 6 different people. Yeah, you're special, and specialness comes with responsibility.
Well, honestly, I was thinking more the people that talk the loudest about being important don't do it.
Yeah.
Aren't the ones who are actually important. But yes. They make it there. The armies help them out. Oh no, Edmund's been injured because the White Witch was about to use the wand on Peter, and so Edmund broke the wand. Oh my gosh, he's deadly injured. Oh no. If only there was an ex machina that we were given earlier in this book, even though half of these things haven't really come up, so maybe you've forgotten. But yeah, oh my gosh, Lucy!
Yep, Lucy has the magic healing potion.
Anyway, it works. They're fine. They get crowned. Oh my gosh, 40 years later. Except not 40 years.
Yep, they are enthroned at Cair Paravel, and Aslan leaves, and he comes back occasionally. He is not a tame lion. And then they hear about a white stag in the woods.
And they're like, that sounds like fun.
The white stag can grant any wish, so they say. And so the kings and queens of Narnia go and chase after it.
That sounds like fun to do that today. So they go to do the thing, and oh my gosh, is that a lamppost?
Yeah, they see a strange lighted tree in the forest. And it's familiar somehow.
How is that possible? And then, oh my gosh, they go into the wardrobe, and it's only been a couple of hours.
And they are no longer years and years old. They're back to 8 through 13.
Hello, children.
And they talk to the professor, and the professor says you'll never get back to Narnia through the wardrobe.
Because that would be convenient.
Yep, that's the story in a nutshell.
There we go. And that's how they take it in the movie too. They toss it over, and the professor has the ball, and he's good-natured about everything. Yeah, it's all good. It's great. It's done. 2 hours and 20 minutes. General thoughts. 2 hours and 20 minutes. I can't get over that. That's how long Star Wars movies are now.
Yeah, it definitely was more than the hour 30 I thought it was.
The extended editions of Lord of the Rings are around 3 hours. This was almost as long as an extended edition Lord of the Rings. 92 pages.
But it did well, I'll say that.
It did well enough to get 2 sequels.
Yep, and like you said earlier, they're planning for another one, aren't they? But the studio is going to be different.
They are doing a TV show.
A TV show?
Yes. So it's a little bit different. But yes, I absolutely believe there was a hole in the market when the Lord of the Rings movies was over, and they were like, hey, this dude has fantasy books. Let's do it. And then they did. And I don't know how as a child I did that. Although I do better in movie theaters, so I don't know. But yeah, I can't get behind the 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I enjoy it, but reminder to the audience, I do have a pretty thickly set pair of nostalgia goggles on.
I haven't watched it since I was a kid. I don't think I ever watched it after I saw it in the movie theaters. So I have it and I don't. It's more like looking at your past self in therapy where you're like, okay, I get it, but I don't feel it. So I would give that a pretty solid 75% as well. Rotten Tomatoes, you are correct. All knowing, all powerful, always correct. But I really like the book. I think it's a really fun time. I think it would be a great thing to read to your kid. I am excited to read it to my kid. We have all the books in this like huge compilation book for convenience, but it's also hecka heavy, but that's beside the point. So I'm really glad I got the chance to actually read the book. I really like it. Like I said, it is less scary than Wizard of Oz, where knife creatures are throwing their heads at you and the Axeman is constantly committing homicide with his axe, but he would never hurt a bug. So it's really good. I enjoyed it. Definitely in the vein of, I think, Series of Unfortunate Events. Series of Unfortunate Events is older, of course, more tragic, but that same fourth wall breaking, tongue-in-cheek, serious but not serious, this is a children's book kind of vibes.
I would also recommend it, and I do recommend to the folks that do have children, just once again, read to your kids, because it makes such an impact that you may not see it until 10 or 20 years later, but it will have an impact. This is a moral book. It has right and wrong. It has characters that do have redemption. It has sacrifice and the meaning of it. And it's short. It's just 93 pages at most.
It's stupendous. It's wonderful. It's short. One question for the author. So when you have historical figures like this who are very famous in their time, I feel like they've been asked everything under the sun. And so my go-to question as a person who minored in journalism, my go-to final question for all of my interviews and everything is there a question that you wanted to answer that I did not ask? And so that's kind of what I want to do with him, is to be like, what's a question you've always wanted to be asked, but never were, and what would be your answer? Because there's something.
Absolutely.
It could be about his favorite morning cereals. He has some very big thoughts about that, but it's something. So I'd be curious what that would be.
Let's see. You're really right about that, because C.S. Lewis has been there and gone for so long. He's probably answered so many questions in person about anything I might ask.
Yeah.
So if I could ask a question to him present day, I would say, what would be your favorite adaptation of it? Because it has been done forward and back, music, stage plays, movies, television shows, all of them based around the books that you wrote. And so of all of the little interpretations, all of the little adaptations, which one would you pick as, I liked this being done the most?
Or is he like Agatha Christie and hates all of them?
Yeah, like the Tolkien estate doesn't like the film Lord of the Rings.
So maybe not so much a hater, but...
Yeah, he definitely has a childlike wonder about him. In fact, he actually wrote essays to children as a book.
I mean, you kind of have to include Santa. Ratings. It has pockets out of 10. Talking about things only men can understand. Well, only women can understand. It's cute. You saw it on the rack. You're like, this is kind of nice. I'm going to try it on. Let's see what it is. I'm a solid maybe. You put it on, you're like, I don't know, maybe. And then you reach your hand down and they enter a fabric dimension and you go, oh my gosh, it has pockets. That's how I felt about this. I went in, I was like, okay, this is a children's book. It's fine. I've seen the movie. I know the plot. What is there really going to be here? And then it surprised me in a very joyous way. Also pocket dimensions. Pun.
My rating would be Christmas in the Summer out of 10.
But now we can't have Christmas.
Hey, I didn't say it was a bad thing. I said that this isn't a Christmas movie. You were right in that it can be watched on Christmas. And I'm not saying that Christmas at any time of the year is a bad thing. I am Tiny Tim. I keep Christmas in my heart all year round.
Just like Hallmark, who starts their countdown to Christmas in September now.
No. Yeah, all right. I'm not going to fight corporate today in that way, out loud, within speaking distance of a phone.
Read it again, yes. I feel like I've expressed that perfectly well enough.
I would say read it again, yes, and I'll go one step further in read the rest of the Narnia books. Well, I'll tell you, if you read The Magician's Nephew, it makes The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe a lot better.
Well, that was the thing, because I was like, what order do we go in? And you were like, this one first. I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, it's like how people argue about Star Wars, the way that you should watch them. It's the same way with Narnia, because it has some back and forth to it. If you do want a little bit more on Narnia, and there is something called Of Other Worlds, Essays and Stories, and it talks about how he created Narnia, not as an allegory, but as a supposal. So he's talking about how this isn't trying to slip in medicine with the dog treat. This is, what if there really was another world that really did have sin? And how would Christ look there? And what would their society be like?
So no, literally, when we're saying lion Jesus, we're not being cute and cheeky. We're literally...
Yeah.
Literal lion Jesus. The lion will lay down with the lamb. Literal lion Jesus.
And so he really did do it because he had been in and out of the church since childhood. He was an atheist for the longest time. And he felt that the way that kids are being taught about the whole Christian story was kind of suffocating, and it was more medicinal than actual faith and having a story to it. And so we tried to put the story not to obscure it in some fantasy world, but to kind of bring it out again as something new that you knew all along. But that is 1966 of Other Worlds, Essays and Stories. And then he also wrote Letters to Children, which talks a bit about it as well.
There's your homework.
Yeah.
Only Tim would give you a homework.
That's right.
But have you read this book? What did you think of the movie and its length? Still better. Do you have any book recommendations for us? Tell us all about it in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit like, and if you're enjoying yourself, hit subscribe for more. Thank you for exploring The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe with us. Join us next time when we'll be covering Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. I'm Sam Reiner.
And I'm Tim Berkman.
And we hope to see you and a friend here next time. Escape With Me Book Club is a Lunar Skull production. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok to keep up to date with us. Lunar_SKULK.